we are not going to wrap up today's session without talking about Wolves versus Arsenal. I didn't watch this game. It played at the same time with the three other Champions League games, but I have watched an extended highlights, and I just want to say congratulations to Wolves. I'm thinking about considering this as an underdog story because you know we love the story of the underdogs here. These are the stories that we live for on the New Omar podcast. And I want to say, I reserve the right to reasonably assess whether a team qualifies for the underdog applause, even when it is not a win for them. All right. Because in this case, Wolves is the 20th placed team in the English Premier League, up against Arsenal, the league leaders, all right, whose objective is to win the English Premier League this season, and they haven't won the English Premier League in over 21 going 22 years. And Wolves was able to overturn a 2-goal deficit to get a point. Yes, it's not a win, but I think given those considerations, I think we have to give it up for Wolves like we normally do for the underdogs here on the show. So let us do the usual for Wolves. Congratulations to Wolves. I think it was well deserved. And I don't know what this will mean for them going forward because they're still at the bottom. At least they have now got to a double-digit points in the English Premier League. There are a lot of games to play, but I just do not see any pathway for Wolves to make it out of that relegation zone. And for Arsenal, the title race has been blown wide open. But not just that, but such a draw is going to have a bigger psychological impact because it's not just a draw against a very good team, a team that is maybe, mid-table or, top half of the league table. No, this is the team at the very bottom of the English Premier League. And at the Emirates, they scored all the goals to give Arsenal 3 points, 2 own goals. So when you sit there and think about you couldn't get all 3 points against a Wolves team like that, no disrespect, okay, but there's a reason why Wolves are at the bottom of the Premier League. So when you fail to get all 3 points to open a gap with Manchester City, now a Manchester City win means it's a 2-point gap, and it's going to continue based off of the fixtures until they play that game in hand. So this is an unnecessary pressure for Arsenal. And they have been feeling the heat. I've been saying it. They have been feeling the pressure. They have been. Because their performances have not been really pretty for a very long time. They've been, getting results here and there, but I'm not convinced about the performance. All right. And I've been saying quite recently, the work rate itself, which was really one thing that was noticeable about this Arsenal team alongside with the set pieces, I think it is not at the same level. That is part of the problem. Arsenal used to suffocate you. Arsenal used to really go after you every inch of the pitch. That is something that we were seeing from the Champions League last season. And I said, if they were not timid at the Emirates against PSG, I think they could have made their way to the finals and then they could have won the Champions League last season. In all sincerity. Because even when Arsenal went to France to play PSG, if Donnarumma was not really excellent in that opening 20 minutes, I think Arsenal would have still eliminated PSG. But the Arsenal I was seeing, the way they played against Real Madrid, the way they played in that Champions League, that work rate, like I said, all right, they are just willing to run all over the pitch to make you super uncomfortable. And it started this season, but for some reason, it has disappeared. And I don't know why, because now they have, a lot of players now. They have the depth. There is quality there. All right. And so what is going on? And this is the English Premier League. Like Liverpool is not really at their best. Chelsea as well. Same thing with Manchester City. So how did Arsenal even get to this point? So you are playing a Wolves team. You can't even constantly put pressure on them. So much so that you lose a 2-goal advantage against Wolves. I mean, it's a very, very bad result. All right. Yes, Manchester City will have to deal with Newcastle. But I'll tell you what, a Manchester City team can handle pressure. They have that winning mentality. They can be calm when the storm is really, really rough. Okay, they can do that. So they can take care of Newcastle. It is something that I think they can do. But Arsenal will have to take care of Spurs. And the good thing is, well, the good thing for Arsenal is Spurs are still experiencing a lot of injuries. Not a good thing for Spurs, right? But like with regards to the race, I think that is an opportunity Arsenal have to take advantage of. But if they show up and they're timid, all right, they don't have the composure, and they're demonstrating obvious lack of confidence in that game. I think despite the fact that Spurs are missing like tons of players, it will still be a challenging game for Arsenal. And that is the thing. When you start to show that, well, you cannot perform under pressure, well, then every other team you're coming up against will be willing to go after you because they don't respect you enough. And I have said so many times that all those missed opportunities, right, that Arsenal should have made a statement. And I remember saying here on the show, specifically, using phrases like, Arsenal will need to shut the door to the question of, is this really their season? By making statements. Whenever there was that opportunity to just win and keep extending the gap, you go ahead and win and make that statement, especially against the big teams. Liverpool, they failed to make a statement. Manchester United, they failed to make a statement. No. So, and now Wolves, of all teams, Wolves, I mean, Wolves, I don't want to really downplay what you guys did, respectfully, but there's a reason why you guys are at the bottom of the Premier League this season. That is the truth. So if you want to go on and win a league, Arsenal, you have to be able to do better than this. And I have said, if Arsenal fail to win the English Premier League this season, should they bring a different coach? And I'm talking about a coach that has been winning, or a coach that has won a lot of trophies in the past with that kind of aura, that kind of charisma. Excuse me. And I said, if Jose Mourinho will be that kind of a guy, because I don't see Mikel Arteta and this group of players going forward and winning the English Premier League if they fail to do so this season. It's not going to happen. There's going to be a complete breakdown in confidence, in belief, and everything else. It won't be there. It will not be there. They will need somebody different that's going to bring a different set of ideology, that's going to generate a different set of beliefs, so those players can at least buy in and just play. And they will need a very big coach to do that. So Arsenal is really in a very, very difficult position, and they have contributed to finding themselves in that situation. But we'll see what happens, because again, for me, this English Premier League has been nothing but very competitive. Who knows what will happen? So we'll continue to just monitor the situation. But for Arsenal, these 2 points dropped today was very, very terrible. But catch you later. Until then, stay blessed and peace out.